else's arms. That is the first message coming through here. And wow, this already feels feverish, possessive, restless, and very hard for this person to contain. I do not feel this is simple jealousy. I feel this is the kind of reaction that happens when someone realizes your energy is not guaranteed, your attention is not permanently reserved for them, and your heart could actually be received elsewhere. So let's go ahead and see where you are in this connection right now. What is your overall energy here? Here is the Nine of Pentacles. So yes, I feel you have been standing more in your own lane lately. You may have been reclaiming your confidence, minding your own business, pouring energy back into yourself, and becoming less available for confusion. And I feel this independence in you is exactly what has been getting under this person's skin. Because when you stop orbiting around someone and you start returning to yourself, that is when they begin realizing you are not just a feeling they can visit whenever they want. You are a whole person with options, magnetism, and your own rhythm. And where is this person right now? Here is the Devil. Wow. Okay, so yes, this person is obsessed right now. I feel their thoughts have gone intense, their imagination has gone wild, and they are having a hard time staying emotionally cool. I do not feel this is only physical. I feel this is also territorial, emotional, and deeply triggered by the idea of losing access to you. Something in them is reacting strongly to the possibility that someone else could get close to what they took for granted. And what is going on for both of you right now? Here is the Ace of Wands. So yes, the tension is high here. The chemistry is alive here. And I feel there is a lot that has not been released between you two. This is one of those connections where desire has not gone anywhere. If anything, it feels sharper because of distance, uncertainty, and the thought that someone else might step into a space this person secretly still thinks of as theirs. What else for you? Here is freedom. Yes, and I love that for you because I feel Spirit is showing me that your energy is becoming lighter, brighter, and less trapped by waiting around for anybody to decide what they want. And for them, here is envy. Wow, yes. So this person is not comfortable right now. I feel they are comparing themselves to imagined rivals, making themselves miserable with scenarios in their own head and feeling their own attachment loudly. For both of you, here is unfinished business. So yes, I do feel that part of what is making this so intense is that the story does not feel complete. There is still heat here. There is still pull here. There is still something between you that has not fully had its say, all right? Two cards coming out for you. Here is detachment and here is glow up. Yes, that is exactly what I feel. You are not in the same energy you were before. You are becoming more self-honoring, more radiant, and less likely to hand your power over. For them, here is panic. Yes, and that fits perfectly. I feel they are shaken by the thought of you no longer centering them, and they do not know how to sit with that gracefully right now. And for both of you, here is ignition. Wow. So something is being stirred here, and I do feel the pressure is building toward movement rather than staying buried forever. Here is your next energy. Emotions are running high. Wow. Okay, that fits exactly. Let's clarify that. Here is the Chariot. So yes, things are moving. Someone is not going to be able to sit in this state forever. And I feel you have changed too, because with the Nine of Pentacles here, yes, you may still feel this person. Yes, there may still be a strong bond here, but you are not folding yourself into smallness to keep their attention. You are carrying yourself differently. So the main energy coming through is this person is getting overwhelmed by the idea that you could be turning away from them and opening to someone else. It is hitting their pride. Yes, it is hitting their desire. Yes, but more than that, it is showing them just how much you matter to them. Because sometimes people do not fully understand their own attachment until they are forced to picture what life looks like without access to someone. And I feel that is exactly what is happening here. The thought of you elsewhere is lighting something up in them they can barely manage. And I feel this next phase comes from that realization, not because jealousy is romantic by itself, but because it is exposing truths they have not been able to ignore anymore. Their heart is louder now, their thoughts are louder now, and their urge to do something about it is getting stronger. Okay, let's keep going because I want to look at some more details here. What are you thinking overall about this person and this connection right now? Here is the Ace of Cups, the Five of Wands, and the Sunday. Wow. So even with everything that has happened, I feel your heart still knows there is something alive here. And that is why this has not been easy to dismiss. The Ace of Cups tells me there is still emotional truth in this bond. The Five of Wands says your mind has been in conflict because part of you wants peace and another part still feels the spark. And the Sunday says this person still lights something up in you, even if you have tried not to feed it. So I feel your thoughts are not cold. They are divided, yes, but not cold. You may have tried to focus on yourself, your life, your confidence, and your own lane, but something about this connection still stays vivid in your inner world. And what are they thinking about you right now? Here is the Seven of Swords, the King of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles. Wow. Okay, so I feel this person is trying to act cooler than they actually are. The Seven of Swords says they are keeping a lot to themselves, maybe pretending they are less affected than they really are. The King of Wands says there is still a strong pull, a lot of attraction, and maybe even a possessive streak here. And the Two of Pentacles says they have been going back and forth trying to manage what they feel without fully showing their hand. I feel this person has been watching themselves carefully. Maybe they have wanted to reach out. Maybe they have wanted to say something bold. Maybe they have wanted to test your energy, but then they pull themselves back and try to stay composed. Still, I do not feel the inside of them is composed at all. What are you feeling overall about them right now? Here's the Star, the Tower, and the Lovers. Wow, yes. So there is still hope here, but this connection has also shaken you very deeply. With the Star, I feel part of you still believes there is a meaningful path here. With the Tower, I feel this person has disrupted your peace, your patterns, and the way you thought this would go. And with the Lovers, I feel that is exactly why it has been so hard to treat this like it was just another passing connection. This does not feel ordinary in your heart. It feels important. And I think that is why even when you try to detach, some part of you still feels them, not because you are weak, because something about the bond itself has been difficult to reduce. And how are they feeling about you right now? Here's the Queen of Cups, the Moon, and the Four of Pentacles. Wow, this person feels a lot, but they are holding it in tightly. The Queen of Cups says you touch them emotionally in a deep way. The Moon says there are fears, fantasies, uncertainties, and emotional undercurrents they have not known how to sort through. And the Four of Pentacles says they have been gripping these feelings instead of releasing them in a healthy way. Let's clarify that Four of Pentacles. Here is the Nine of Wands, yes, so I feel there is defensiveness in them, maybe because they feel vulnerable, maybe because jealousy has exposed just how much this matters to them, but I do not think they like how out of control they feel inside. And one more here is the Ace of Wands. Yes, so the attraction is very much alive, the urgency is alive, and the urge to move closer or reclaim your attention is very much present here. So let's look at your intentions toward them right now. Here is the Queen of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, and Judgment. Wow. Okay, so I feel your intention is not to be reckless with your energy anymore. The Queen of Swords says you want truth. The Six of Pentacles says you want balance, reciprocity, and equal effort. And Judgment says, you know, this connection is reaching a point where what is real will begin showing itself much more clearly. You are not here to beg for scraps. You are here to see whether this person can step up in a genuine way, and what are their intentions towards you right now. Here is the Knight of Cups, the Five of Swords, the World, and the Devil. Wow. Okay, so I do feel they want to move towards you emotionally, but there is still a war inside them. The Knight of Cups says there is a wish to come forward. The Five of Swords says ego, fear, pride, or some old pattern of self-sabotage is still making this harder than it needs to be. The World says a cycle is turning, and the Devil says the attachment is intense. They are not free of this. Not even close. So yes, I do feel their intention is to move, but it looks like a person fighting themselves while doing it. And I feel that is why this jealousy has become such a loud signal. It is forcing them to see how bound up they already are in what they feel for you, and how impossible it has become to keep pretending otherwise. And that truth is getting harder for them to push aside fully now. All right, let's look at the shared field between you now, because this is where the reading begins showing what the connection itself is doing. How are you both thinking in this connection? Here is the Two of Cups. Wow, so yes, I do feel there is mutual awareness here. Both of you know there is something strong between you. Both of you know there is a pull here that has not faded. And even if neither one of you has translated all of this into clean language yet, The Two of Cups says the emotional current is shared. This is not one person imagining significance where there is none. This is a real bond with response on both sides. And I think that is one reason the jealousy is so loud, because at some level, both hearts already know this connection carries meaning. And how are you both feeling? Here is the Nine of Swords. Yes, so this has both of you worked up, but in different ways. I feel you have been carrying uncertainty and inner pressure, and I feel they have been carrying restless attachment, frustration, and the stress of not knowing how to control what they are feeling. Let's clarify that Nine of Swords. Here's the Three of Pentacles. So the real challenge has not been whether there is chemistry or whether there is emotion. The challenge has been how to make this real, how to make this functional, and how to move from tension into something that can actually stand in the everyday world, because that is what I keep feeling here. The heat is present, the heart is present, but the shape has not fully formed yet, and that is why the next step matters so much. Because it is not only about feeling more, it is about whether feeling becomes effort, clarity, and action. So let's look at where this connection is headed in the near future. Here's the Hierophant, the Page of Wands, and the Star. Wow. Okay, with the Hierophant, I feel the next phase wants seriousness, honesty, and more mature energy than what has been here before. The Page of Wands says there is movement, a message, bold curiosity, or a spark of initiative coming through. And the Star says relief, renewal, and a softer atmosphere is trying to enter this connection. I really like that because it feels like the emotional storm starts opening into something more hopeful. Let's get another card for the near future. Here is the Eight of Wands. Wow, yes. Movement, contact, momentum, energy that had been building now beginning to move much more quickly. And here is the Hermit reversed. Wow, so yes, someone is stepping out of private processing and into something more visible. That matters because the energy has been too inward for too long, too much imagining, too much wondering, too much inner drama. And I feel the next phase begins cutting through some of that by actually bringing things into motion. What advice does Spirit have for you right now? Here is the Ten of Cups. Beautiful. Spirit is saying, do not let someone else's emotional chaos pull you away from your own peace. Yes, this connection matters. Yes, it is intense. Yes, it may be moving into a more active phase, but your joy still matters. Your balance still matters. Your emotional home inside yourself still matters. Let's get another advice card. Here is boundaries. Yes, exactly. Spirit is saying you do not have to punish anybody, but you do need to protect your calm. You do not have to shut your heart, but you also do not have to absorb every wave this person sends out while they struggle with their own attachment. Because jealousy can be revealing, but it is not enough by itself. If this person truly wants closeness with you, then the next thing must be honesty, steadiness, and respect. Let's see what this person would say to you if they could speak from the heart. Here is the first message. I hate thinking about someone else getting what I still want with you. Wow, yes, that fits exactly. Here is another message. Every time I imagine you giving your attention away, it throws me off completely. Yes, because this is not comfortable for them. It is exposing how much they still care. Here is another. I thought I had more time, and now I feel you slipping into a life that may not include me the way I assumed. Wow. Yes, that feels very strong too, because I feel this person is being forced to realize that your life does not stand still just because they have been undecided. Let's get one more. I know I need to do more than just feel all this. Yes, and that is really the key here. The next turn comes from the fact that they are no longer able to hide inside emotion without taking some kind of step. Whether small or direct, I do feel movement begins from that realization soon. Very soon, for real now, because once fear of losing you becomes louder than fear of speaking, a person begins moving differently. And I feel that is what is happening here. They are reaching the point where silence hurts more than honesty, and that changes the direction of everything. Okay, let's keep going because I want to look more closely at what is happening inside this person now that their attachment is becoming impossible to dismiss. What are they most afraid of if they step fully toward this? Here's the Tower. Wow, yes, this person is afraid of the amount of change that could happen once they stop trying to keep this contained. Because I do not feel they can move towards you halfway and stay untouched. I feel they know it would shift things in a very real way. What else are they afraid of? Here is justice. Yes. So there is also fear of accountability. They know that if they come in now, they may have to face how long they took, how they handled things before, and how much their silence or inconsistency may have affected you. So the fear here is not only about passion, it is also about consequence. It is about knowing that once truth steps forward, it cannot be taken back into the dark and treated like nothing happened. What do they want most with you now? Here is the Lovers, beautiful. So beneath all the turmoil, what they want is closeness, honesty, and a real decision made in the direction of this bond. I do not feel they want to keep watching from the sidelines forever. I feel they want to know whether this can be mutual in the open, not only mutual intention. That matters because it shows the center of them is not empty. The center of them wants union. The struggle has been in how to approach it without losing control of the image they have tried to keep of themselves. What would help this connection unfold in the healthiest way? Here is Temperance. Wow, Spirit is saying balance, patience, and calmer pacing will help far more than emotional drama. This is not a bond that needs more fire for the sake of it. It needs enough steadiness for the truth to land well. Let's get another card for what helps. Here is the Three of Pentacles. Yes, grounded effort matters, reliability matters, actions that can be repeated matter. If this person wants to move closer, it cannot be only because they are jealous. It has to be because they are ready to build differently. What is the lesson you are meant to take from this phase? Here is the Queen of Swords. Wow. Yes, you are learning how to stay open without becoming blurry. You are learning how to feel deeply without abandoning your standards, and you are learning that not every strong feeling deserves instant access to your peace. That is such a powerful lesson because it means you can recognize the significance of this bond without handing your center over to it. You can let the truth come forward while still staying rooted in what you need. What is the lesson they are meant to take from this phase? Here is the Hanged Man. Yes, this person has been forced to see themselves differently. They have had to sit still enough to realize that desire, jealousy, and attachment are not the same thing as real courage. Something in them had to shift perspective before they could move in a more honest way. Let's get another card for them. Here is Heart Chakra. Beautiful. So I feel they are being pushed to live from the heart more sincerely, not only react from the ego or from fear of losing you. And that is an important difference because I do think part of what was triggered here is possession. But I also think beneath that there is real feeling. And Spirit is asking them to find the cleaner truth underneath the panic so they can approach you from that place instead. Let's see what else they would say to you. I am furious at the thought of someone else making you smile the way I want to. Wow, yes, that is intense. But it shows how emotionally affected they are. Here is another. I do not like how much this gets to me, but it does. Yes, and that feels true. I do not think this person enjoys feeling this exposed. I think it unsettles them deeply. Here is another. I know that wanting you is not enough if I keep standing still. Wow. Yes, that says so much because I feel the growth here is that they are beginning to realize emotion without movement only creates more frustration. What are you being asked to remember while all of this unfolds? Here is the Empress. Beautiful Spirit wants you planted in your worth, your softness, and your ability to receive without chasing. You do not need to scramble because someone else is finally feeling their own heart more loudly. You do not need to rush. You do not need to rescue them from their own intensity, and you do not need to reduce yourself to make it easier for them to approach. If they want closeness, let them come with more truth than turmoil. Let's get one more. Here is the Star. Wow, yes. Stay open to healing, stay open to a better outcome than what has been here before, but also stay loyal to the calm you have been building inside yourself, because that calm is what will help you read the next step clearly when it appears, because your steadiness will show you what is real quickly now. All right, let's get deeper into the messages now, because I feel there is a lot this person has wanted to say, but has not fully known how to bring out cleanly. Here is the first message. I cannot stop picturing you giving your warmth, your affection, and your closeness to someone else. Wow, yes, that fits the whole reading. And I feel the reason it is hitting so hard is because it makes this person confront how emotionally invested they already are. Here's another. I keep trying to act unaffected, but my imagination keeps dragging me right back into this. Yes, that feels very accurate because I do not think this person is enjoying how consumed they feel. I think they are trying to stay above it and failing. Here is another. The thought of you moving on without me feels unbearable some days. Wow, yes, and that says so much because this is not casual jealousy. This is fear of displacement, fear of being replaced in a bond they secretly still feel deeply tied to. Let's get another message. What is most alive in their heart right now? Here is, I do not want anybody else touching the part of you I still feel connected to. Wow, yes, that is intense, but it also shows how strong the emotional and energetic link still feels to them. What are they still hesitant about? Here's the Seven of Wands. Yes, so there is still resistance in them. They are wary, they are protective. And they are worried about how you would respond if they showed how strongly they are reacting. Let's clarify the Seven of Wands. Here is the Five of Pentacles. Wow, yes. Another fear is being shut out. Another fear is realizing too late that they do not have the access they imagined. And honestly, I think that is part of why their mind has been racing. They are being forced to face the reality that wanting you does not guarantee you. And one more, here is Judgment. Beautiful. So the reason this still moves is because the inner push is stronger than the hesitation. Something in them knows it is time to stop letting fantasy, fear, and pride run the whole show. What do they secretly hope for? Here's the Six of Cups. Yes, they hope the sweetness is still there. They hope there is still softness between you. They hope the emotional thread has not snapped just because too much was left unspoken. What does Spirit most want you to know about that? Here is the Queen of Wands. Wow. Spirit wants you to remember the impact of your presence. Your energy has stayed with them. Your magnetism has stayed with them. And your ability to turn your attention elsewhere is part of what has made them realize just how much you affect them. Let's get another message from them. I did not think jealousy would expose me this much. Wow. Yes, that feels true, because sometimes it takes a trigger like this for a person to finally see how deep their own attachment runs. Here's another. I keep wondering what I would do if I actually lost my place with you. Wow. Yes. And I think that question is haunting them right now because before they may have acted as if the bond would simply stay there. Now they are realizing that is not how life works. What would help this next phase most? Here is the Knight of Pentacles. Beautiful. Spirit is saying slower but sincere steps are better than reactive moves. If they come in only because they are panicking, that will not be enough. If they come in because they are ready to be steadier, that matters. Let's get another card. Here is the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. Yes. Timing is turning, the cycle is shifting, and I feel that is why this jealousy is functioning like a wake-up call. It is not appearing in a vacuum. It is appearing because the connection itself is moving into a new chapter. What are you being asked to do with that? Here is the Empress and the Queen of Swords, beautiful softness and clarity together. You do not need to dim yourself, you do not need to become cold, and you do not need to respond to someone else's panic with panic of your own. You simply remain in your worth and let the next move show you how real this person's intentions actually are, because if they want closeness, then closeness must be approached with more care than jealousy alone can offer. Let's get one more message from their heart. I think the thought of someone else having you is forcing me to admit what I should have admitted sooner. Wow, yes, and that really is the core of the reading. The trigger is revealing the truth, and I feel the next step matters because it shows whether revelation becomes action or whether the person stays trapped in their own storm. But I do feel movement is much closer now because the emotional pressure has become too strong to ignore in silence any longer. That is here now. Yes, I feel they are reaching the point where imagining losing you hurts more than risking honesty. And that is a major shift because once a person crosses that line inside themselves, they do not stay still in the same way anymore. All right, let's close this out with some final messages because this reading feels like it is bringing hidden attachment toward a much more visible threshold. Here is the first closing message. I did not understand how much I wanted you until my mind started showing me what it would feel like to lose you. Wow, yes, that is exactly the heart of this reading. The jealousy is not creating the love. It is exposing the love that was already there. Here is the next message. I keep picturing you turning away from me and towards somebody else, and it wrecks my peace. Yes, and I feel that sentence says so much because it reveals the emotional truth beneath the panic. They care, they are attached, and they are far more affected than they wanted to admit. Here is another one. I know that if I keep waiting, I could end up watching you choose a life that does not include me. Wow, yes, that feels like one of the biggest realizations here. Time is no longer feeling endless to them. Your life is moving, your attention is valuable, and they are beginning to understand that standing still has a cost. What does Spirit most want you to remember? Here is the Ten of Pentacles. Beautiful Spirit wants you to remember that your life is not meant to revolve around someone else's delay. Your future is rich, your path is full, and anything entering your world should add stability, care, and value, not take your peace away. Let's get another advice card. Here is the Star. Yes, stay open to healing, stay open to a better direction than what has been here before. But do not let someone's emotional storm become your responsibility to carry. And let's get one more. Here is the Queen of Swords. Exactly, clarity belongs here. Truth belongs here. Boundaries belong here. You can belong here. You can understand why someone feels this strongly and still require them to show up in a healthier, clearer way. What is the highest potential here if both people honor what is being revealed? Here is the Two of Cups and the King of Pentacles. Beautiful. So the highest potential is mutual feeling meeting dependability. Not only chemistry, not only craving something steadier, something that can actually stand. That matters because the reading is not saying intensity alone is enough. It is saying intensity has opened the door to truth, and now truth must become maturity if the connection is going to move well from here. What would they say to you if no fear and no pride were left in the way? Here is the first message. I cannot stand the thought of someone else being closer to you than I am. Wow. Yes. And while that is intense, it is also honest. It shows how much they still feel linked to you. Here is another. I should have realized sooner that wanting you in silence was not going to keep you near me. Wow. Yes, because that is one of the deepest lessons here. Silent longing is not the same thing as a real offer. And I think they understand that now. Here is another one. I do not want to lose what still feels like mine in my heart. Yes. And that tells me the bond is still very present to them, even if they have not handled it perfectly. Let's get one final oracle card. Here is truth. Wow. And here is another movement. Beautiful. So I feel the closing energy is very simple. Truth wants movement now. Not only more fantasy, not only more obsession movement. So the final message I am getting is this. They are losing their mind picturing you in someone else's arms because some part of them has finally realized what you mean to them. That realization may have come through jealousy. It may have come through fear. It may have come through imagining the worst. But underneath all of that, there is something real here that has become impossible for them to ignore. Spirit is also saying this. Do not confuse intensity with readiness. The intensity is revealing what is buried. The next question is whether the person can rise above possessiveness, fear, and emotional panic enough to approach you with steadier truth. That is what matters. If you have felt this person becoming more stirred, more attentive, more reactive, or more emotionally loud lately, I feel you are reading that correctly. Something inside them has broken open, and that opening is forcing them to face the possibility that you are not fixed in place for them. For now, stay calm, stay grounded, stay in your worth. Because the more you do that, the more clearly you will see whether this person is moving from jealousy into honesty and from honesty into action. And here is one final closing message. The idea of losing you has shown me what my heart was too stubborn to say out loud. Wow, yes, that is the ending. The fear cracked something open. Now we see what comes out of that crack, and I do feel what comes out next tells you a great deal about whether this bond is ready to become healthier, clearer, and much more real now than it has ever been before. Very soon, watch what they do next. That is the truth. Here is the first closing message. I did not understand how much I wanted you until my mind started showing me what it would feel like to lose you. Wow. Yes, that is exactly the heart of this reading. The jealousy is not creating the love. It is exposing the love that was already there. Here is the next message. I keep picturing you turning away from me and towards somebody else, and it wrecks my peace. Yes, and I feel that sentence says so much because it reveals the emotional truth beneath the panic. They care, they are attached, and they are far more affected than they wanted to admit. Here is another one. I know that if I keep waiting, I could end up watching you choose a life that does not include me. Wow, yes, that feels like one of the biggest realizations here. Time is no longer feeling endless to them. Your life is moving, your attention is valuable, and they are beginning to understand that standing still has a cost. What does Spirit most want you to remember? Here is the Ten of Pentacles. Beautiful Spirit wants you to remember that your life is not meant to revolve around someone else's delay. Your future is rich, your path is full, and anything entering your world should add stability, care, and value, not take your peace away. Let's get another advice card. Here is the Star. Yes, stay open to healing, stay open to a better direction than what has been here before. But do not let someone's emotional storm become your responsibility to carry. And let's get one more. Here is the Queen of Swords. Exactly, clarity belongs here. Truth belongs here. Boundaries belong here. You can belong here. You can understand why someone feels this strongly and still require them to show up in a healthier, clearer way. What is the highest potential here if both people honor what is being revealed? Here is the Two of Cups and the King of Pentacles. Beautiful. So the highest potential is mutual feeling meeting dependability. Not only chemistry, not only craving something steadier, something that can actually stand. That matters because the reading is not saying intensity alone is enough. It is saying intensity has opened the door to truth, and now truth must become maturity if the